All right. Welcome to another episode of Fade the Deuce. I think Matt's with us, Kev. He's been having some technical difficulties, but I think he's here, just maybe not visible. But I think he'll be back if not, Kev. So we've got another full slate tonight. Kev, are you ready to get back on the positive way here?
Yeah, I had a losing week. I mean, 3-3 if you count the locks, but 2-3 in my regular picks. I'm going to stand by the fact I should have been 4-1. There's absolutely no reason I should have lost the Missouri game. Missouri's within the number. They throw a pick six from their own 5-yard line late in the game. They were battling the whole way. And the other game that just is astounding to me is Ohio State, Maryland. It was 19.5 points. Ohio State ends up winning 37-17. It was 10-10 at halftime. Maryland, it was 10-10 at halftime, and Maryland threw a pick six and should have scored at the end of the half and just botched it. I mean, they kick a field goal there. I have no idea what Tua's brother was doing there, and he threw that little check down. I know Matt really appreciated the Ohio State win. He might even have appreciated the LSU win. I forgot which side he was on there, but that was just that was just two bad beats in my opinion. I think it was on the right side of both and didn't win either.
Yeah, the Maryland-Ohio State game, Matt, was crazy too because Maryland was up 17-10 with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. And then
Absolutely.
Ohio State goes on a 27-0 run.
I know, got lucked out there, and like Ryan or Kev was saying, LSU too. I mean, both backdoor covers got really lucky because it could have been a disastrous week for me.
It works out. Hey, one person's treasure is another person's spoils, and vice versa. So
we were both way off. Hey, and one of the things that's interesting about college football this year, right, is there's been a lot of talk. Hey, is there a dominant team in college football? And people want to say no. And I agree with this, right? There really hasn't been, but there's still a team that's won 23 straight football games. They played a really good Kentucky team, and Georgia beat the brakes off of them. I think Georgia started saying, "Hey, like, don't sleep on us just because we played some competitive games with teams. That's a good Kentucky team, and they beat the brakes off them." Matt and I were on the wrong side of that one together. So.
Absolutely.
But and I think if I'm not mistaken, Matt, you have now crept. You know what? What's your record overall now, Matt?
I think I'm one game below 500.
And I'm 20-19, so.
Yeah, and Kevin's one game above. So you guys are slowly, Matt, you might be overtaken here with a big week.
That's what college football does. That's what gambling does. It was funny is like I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was telling him about what we're doing, and he's like, "Oh man, that'd be great if you could come out and hit 65, 70% on your show." And he doesn't really know a lot about gambling. I'm like, "Bud, I'm hoping for 55%.
I was gonna
55.
65-70, we're going to Vegas. We're pros.
65-70 would be the most watched gambling podcast, and Vegas would be calling us and be like, "Dude, get the hell off the show, dude! Like stop that."
Yeah, they'd be like, "What do we need?"
With our guy Sam.
They'd be like, "What do we need to pay you guys to get you to quit talking about to quit?" And I'd say, "Well, we can come up with a number."
I have been hot in NFL though. I hit a little same game parlay, San Francisco. Dallas. Sorry, Ryan. I took San Fran and the over in that one. Hit the under in the Monday Night Football game. I like some totals in the NFL this week. Matt and I have talked about it offline a little bit. So, but we jump into the college football. It's a great slate. I shouldn't say it. It's a really good slate of football. If you look outside the Big Ten, the Big Ten doesn't really. The Big Ten, in my opinion, has one compelling matchup, and we're going to talk about that. But another fun week of college football in front of us here.
Yes, that is correct. So let's get right to it. I think this next game, maybe a high scoring affair, probably to me the sexiest game. If I could pick one, like if I could watch one game over the weekend, I think this would be the game. Just because you got two Heisman Trophy finalist type guys in Bo Nix and you got Michael Penix. Former Indiana quarterback who's been doing his thing up there in Seattle for Washington. And this is a 2.5-point spread here for Washington, I believe, because it's in Seattle, correct?
Correct.
So this is going to be big time. Like, to me, without even getting over the over, I'm thinking, the total points, I'm thinking this has to be over 50, 55 and a half. I don't know what it is, but
it's 64 and a half, I think was the last time.
Okay. Just
Yep.
with just thinking, I'm like 55 and a half, I think would be anybody putting anything under 60, I think would be dumb. So high scoring affair here. Matt, we'll start with you. Oregon and Washington battle of top 10 teams. What do you see happening in this one?
Yeah, it's the first time they've both been ranked in the top 10 in their 115-year history of games. So huge kind of record on the line here for both teams. And I think the winner is going to come out, and I mean, they're going to have a pathway to the college football playoff, whoever wins this game. Again, big stakes here. Both offenses are unbelievable, as you mentioned. I think both of them are averaging over 550 yards in total offense a game. They're really close. You got two Heisman candidates going back and forth. I've been on Michael Penix Jr. all year. Rode Washington on a couple picks. He's been fantastic, and Bo Nix has been just as good. He's first. He will be first in the nation, leading pass completion percentage at 80%, 80.5. And if he keeps on that trajectory, it'll be an NCAA record. So, I mean, you can't do too much better than that. I think this comes down to if basically Washington's defense is going to be able to stop Oregon here. They've only got 5 sacks on the year and played 6 games. So I know that number is a little skewed because they've been up by so much. And so they take their defense out in the second half sometimes, at least the fourth quarter. But I'm going to ride Bo Nix here as the underdog, plus 2.5 at Washington. I just got a feeling. I think these are two evenly matched teams, but I think Oregon comes out on top.
Wow. Okay.
All right, would you going to sprinkle something on the money line there, Matt, or would this be a game you pick, or was it a game to stay away from?
It probably will be a game I stay away from. If I did take anything, it would be a money line Oregon bet. I don't see a ton of value in the 2.5. I'd rather it get over 3.5. But I don't think that'll happen. So that's kind of where I stand with this one.
Yeah, take a little bit of juice there if you're going to take the dog to get you a little more room for your money there. I wouldn't blame you there. All right, so this one is interesting. So we have the number 1 and number 2 total offense teams in the nation, yards wise, playing against each other. Funny fact here, I think Oregon's like 6 or 7 in total defense. I do think Oregon's being slept on a little bit as a whole here. But I've talked about this a lot on this show, and I talk about it. You know, it was my lock last week, Oklahoma State at home on a Friday night, on an odd night, and I actually said sprinkle something on the money line. I was in Vegas last week. It was really nice. It worked out well for me. They ended up winning the game 29-21 against the Kansas State team. What I'm getting at here is like this is the biggest game in Seattle at home for this fan base in a long time. And if anybody's ever seen their field or taken a look at it, the stadium like overhangs. And what I'm getting at, and then you got the Puget Sound that sits out there. I was actually out there for a bachelor party in June, and we took a pontoon boat, and I pulled right up next to the stadium. It was really cool. It was actually graduation day, so we got to see the kids from Washington graduate. But that stadium is going to be insanely loud. It is going to be really impressive here. And I think I'm riding here against the stats. I'm riding with the emotions of college football. Give me Washington here. And then if I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this, the over-under, I was wrong at 67.5 according to Scores and Odds. Scoresandodds.com is where I get my numbers from because I think it's pretty consistent. It normally does an aggregate of all the books and what they're playing on. And I like the under. I like the under shockingly, right? I think there's going to be some more defense played. I think these teams are both better on defense than people give them credit for. Give me something like 31-27 Washington in this one to get away with the cover. We talk about this all the time on the show. This is not a game that I would really lean into. I would lean into it in the same game parlay here for a little bit of juice. It's a really tough game to predict. I'm just going to have more fun watching it. This is going to be. I mean, like Michael Penix Jr. is moving up draft boards. Probably the third quarterback right now behind May and Williams. He throws an incredible deep ball. And then Bo Nix's ability to maneuver around the pocket and run when he has to, but completing those passes at just such a high rate and really running that offense, it's got to break people in Oregon, in Auburn's heart to see what he's doing at Oregon.
He's been
So,
great.
And how about this? As I mentioned earlier, what about Tom Allen in Indiana seeing Michael Penix? I
oh,
mean,
geez.
come on, man. Could you imagine if that was our Illini and we had a guy that was like, "Hey,
But-
I took you guys to 9 wins after my sophomore year. I'm out."
Yeah.
But I think the difference is that Auburn is a borderline college football blue blood. I mean, we've seen multiple Heisman Trophy winners there. We've seen a national championship come out of there. We've seen an undefeated season, which they didn't even get to play in a bowl game. Like Auburn has been a really good football team for a long time. Indiana has always been a drag of college football, so you kind of understand it. But if you're sitting there as an Auburn fan, you're like, that guy left us and has put up Heisman level numbers 2 years in a row. That's gotta burn your ass, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, for the next game, you guys, we're going to stay with the Pac-12 for at least one more year here. A big matchup in prime time on NBC. It actually follows the 2:30 Maryland Illinois kick on NBC. So most people are going to be tuned out after the Illinois Maryland game. They're going to be footballed out. But and so they're like, you know what? Let's get that second helping. Let's get USC Notre Dame. So it's in South Bend. Notre Dame's been up and down this year. I really thought that after Notre Dame pretty much I thought was the better team against Ohio State. They've really been up and down since then in the sense of like, you go and get that win at Duke and. While Duke's quarterback got hurt, and then they just weren't obviously didn't look very good at Louisville. I think Louisville is undefeated. I understand that. But, I mean, Indiana nearly beat Louisville earlier in the year. I feel like Louisville's a good team, but not a top 10 team. So what Notre Dame team is going to show up? Are they going to – because they're going to have to bring it. They're going to have to bring it to beat USC, especially stopping Caleb Williams. So, Kevin, we're going to start with you. 2.5-point favorite, Notre Dame at home. What do you got here?
This is a tough one here, man. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to the point that I have to actually go look at my pick here. What I submitted to you, Ryan. I mean, it literally has been that way. I mean, I am seeing this game all over the place. Here's the thing.
You can still change it, Kevin. You can still. I was trying to talk you guys into say about some stuff when I'm saying all this. I know USC doesn't have really a defense themselves. I get it.
Right. Here's the thing for me is that Notre Dame is coming off 3 consecutive games: Ohio State, Duke, and Louisville, where they have been in absolute freaking physical dogfights, and they got the brakes beat off at the end by the scoreboard by Louisville. Their inability to stop the run against Louisville is a huge concern. Everybody wants to look at Lincoln Riley's offenses and say that it's just all pass happy. Lincoln Riley's offenses have always been probably about 55-45. They've always relied on the run. It is not an air raid system. Yes, the quarterbacks put up big numbers, but they put up big numbers because of the ability for the running game to take the pressure off the quarterback here. My thought process here is I just think Notre Dame is probably a little bit physically beat up. Now, I do think that Notre Dame is going to be able to score some points. Like USC's defense has been a little bit of a sieve here. This is going against my normal thought process of taking a dog on the road in a primetime game. But I'm going to take USC plus the points here. Notre Dame's defense's inability to stop the run against Louisville, it was really concerning for me. Obviously, Caleb Williams is probably the best player in college football. I think Notre Dame cannot score enough to keep up with USC. So give me the Trojans plus the points.
All right, Matt. Let him have it, man. Just tell him where he's wrong, Matt.
Well, I think he's right in the fact that they have played 3 back-to-back very tough games, and they probably are physically beat down a little bit. Probably got their tail between their legs. They're sitting at 5-2, backs kind of against the wall here. And I really like Notre Dame at home for the simple fact of USC's defense. They're just garbage on defense.
It's bad.
And I watched him last week, the last game of the night, and should have lost multiple times against Arizona, which is a pretty good football team, but they're starting a freshman that was making his second start ever, and or he might be a redshirt freshman or sophomore, I can't remember. But anyways, he threw 5 touchdowns against that defense last week, had him in the game. USC's defense, I just don't think they can stop Notre Dame's run game here. There's a large chance for rain at the game. I think that's going to maybe deter USC a little bit from. They're still going to pass. Don't get me wrong. They're still going to score points, but I think Notre Dame's going to try to get the run game going to slow the game down a little bit, so it's not a track meet. I still like Sam Hartman here. He's fallen on the Heisman, peg a couple rungs now just because of the last couple games, but still very capable quarterback. USC giving up 171 yards rushing a game. Give me Notre Dame at home -2.5. I like it under a field goal.
Yeah, Estime could have a big day here, and if Notre Dame's able to control the clock and keep Caleb Williams off the field, it could be a big game. Rain could be huge on that end. Like it's not a game. Not a side I would pick here. If I leaned anyway, if I actually going to lay some money on this one, I probably would lean on the over 60.5.
All right. The next matchup now, not maybe as exciting as the first two, but for the ACC matchup, I think it'd be a little more intriguing if Mario Cristobal could figure out how to take a knee.
Man,
to me, I got to be honest, that might be maybe the biggest blunder of the last few years to me. You just you just can't lose a game like that, it's. Especially not just because you're trying to stay undefeated and keep your program, hyped up inside the top 15. You can't lose a game like that to a 2-3 Georgia Tech team, and give up a Hail Mary at the end. I mean, it was just brutal. So I bring that up because is Miami going to be up to the challenge? Are they going to be a deflated bunch going up against Drake May and North Carolina, who can obviously put points on the board. But with North Carolina, their defense is not very good. So the question would be, which Miami team is going to show up? Is this going to be a motivated team or is this going to be a deflated team? So, Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that is the $20,000 question here. And I mean, you just can't write it or make it up any worse for Miami last week. I mean, you knew the moment he fumbled that football, they were probably going to lose the game. It's just one of those things in betting too. You got a surefire winner, something like that, fluky happens, and all your money's down the drain. But I digress. I think we're going to see a little bit of a defeated Miami team coming in here because I think UNC is playing so well. Drake May has been great. Van Dyke, for me, the Miami QB, he's just been really spotty. Last couple of weeks. They had 3 interceptions last week against a Georgia Tech D that is decent, but I could live with one interception, but you're getting to 3 in one game. Not great. I'd like to see more consistency from him. I don't see it. I think Miami is a very capable team, but I think UNC is just playing so much better as a team. Yes, their defense is a little spotty as well, but they had a really impressive 40-7 win against Syracuse last weekend. Not that Syracuse is, top 25 world beaters by any means, but, they played a complete game and they were still able to get it done. So I'm going to go UNC -3.5 here. I think this line should be more about 5.5, but that's just where I stand.
Yeah, I'm with you here. So I go back to I'm a Colin Cowherd fan. I know that people like to crap on him, but he says some things that really make sense here. All right, so what do I get here? I get the home team. I get the better quarterback. I get the better coach, right?
Exactly.
Matt Brown's been doing it for a long time. And frankly, I get the better defense. North Carolina's 35th in the nation in total defense, top 10 offensive team. And Drake May finally put up Drake May-like numbers. I personally think Drake May is the best pro ready quarterback in the draft. I just there's certain things I like about him. Maybe it's because I'm a Bears fan and I've got Justin Fields fatigue or fear with a guy like Caleb Williams. Caleb's super talented. I'm not knocking him. He's probably more talented than Justin Fields from an arm talent standpoint. But I like North Carolina at home, and there's still a level of you get the Miami Hurricanes coming to your house that electrifies fans. They're really excited with what's going on in North Carolina. They're undefeated. I like the Tar Heels to cover this one. I'm with you, Matt. I think this game should be closer to a touchdown spread than 3.5. Give me the Tar Heels. Tez Walker coming back for that offense.
Yep, he's back. It's big for them.
It adds a level, and I like that.
Yep.
I think, I forgot about this one on our slate. The fourth matchup in our slate here is actually going to be, I think, another high-scoring Pac-12 matchup and a team who definitely has been surprising us. I think, Matt, we've talked about it a few times, with DJ Huga, from Clemson, the transfer, who's making Oregon State more than relevant. They're top 15. They just beat up on Utah in the previous matchup 2 weeks ago, and then put up 52 on Cal last week. But UCLA goes and stuns Washington State in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl, and stifled them defensively. I think which is kind of surprising, I'd say, for a Chip Kelly team, even though I think they've been better defensively this year.
They've been great.
They're top 10 defensively.
Top 10 defense. Yep.
Yeah, but that's surprising to me for a Chip Kelly team.
Yeah, absolutely. It stole my thunder. I was going to talk all about how that was odd.
My bad.
No, that's good, brother. You're doing your work there, bro.
Okay. So now with that said, the game's in Corvallis. So this game's not in Pasadena. So Oregon State has been pretty darn good up there. Not sure what the weather's going to be, but come on, in mid-October up in Oregon, I'm sure it's going to be, cloudy. Probably some some drizzle, going to be evening matchup. So Kevin, what do you have in this? Do you think Chip Kelly's squad's going to have its second top 15 takedown in 2 weeks?
I do not. I like Oregon State here. I know I went against the grain with my SC pick, but I like home teams in college football. Not as much as I like them in college basketball, but I think it's a big deal here. You've got two top 30 defenses, Oregon State 30, UCLA 10. They're both about 30 in offense here. I think Oregon State's played a tougher schedule so far. Now, granted, it was a big win for UCLA getting that win in Pasadena against Washington State, and it was a good game. I think Oregon State is the more battle-tested team here. Granted, you can look at common opponent. You can go right to Washington State. Oregon State lost there, but that was in Pullman. That wasn't in Corvallis. They're excited in Beavertown up there, man. They're really excited about what their team is doing. I like the components.
Rightfully so.
I like what they're doing up there, and I like. Now, I would love this this is a game is actually I would think about taking, and I would probably tease it to 2.5. Right. I like Oregon State here. Giving more than a field goal is a little bit dicey here, but I also. I think I looked at the number 47.5 a total or something like that. I kind of would lean under here. I think this is going to be a defensive ball game. I think this is going to be like 24-20, 21-17. Give me Oregon State, and I'll give the points here.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on the other end of the spectrum and take UCLA plus 3.5 because I do like the hook here in this situation. And to me, it all boils down to defense, what we've already talked about. I mean, like we said, top 10 defense in the country. They lead the Pac-12 in almost every defensive category you can, and at least the major important ones. They've forced 8 or gotten 8 interceptions on the year. They're flying around. They've got 18 sacks on the season in 5 games. Pretty damn good. But the thing that really stands out is 116 total QB pressures. Now that leads the nation. Now Texas A&M leads the nation in 26 sacks, but they only have 91 QB pressure. So that gives you a little idea of how they are getting to the quarterback. And for DJ, he's having a great season. Don't get me wrong. I know I wrote him a couple games earlier on. I really like the Oregon State team, but he only completes 44% of his passes when he is QB pressured. So to me, I know they'll try to probably run it a little bit more in this game, make it more of a kind of a Big Ten battle than anything. But because I'm with Kevin on this, I think this is a low scoring affair. I'm thinking 2017, 17-14, somewhere in there, 21-18. And I'm going to take the UCLA Bruins on back-to-back weeks plus 3.5 at Oregon State.
Yeah, it's 53.5. Sean Sullivan, thank you for chiming in there. And our guy, avid contribute. Yeah, and I love the under there.
I'm Alex Rosary's going off, Kevin.
Dude, we need to get him on the show, man. Like, I would love to have him as a guest picker next week. SDR, you want to join us, man? You'd have to reveal your true identity, brother.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
Love to have you on, buddy. Because I appreciate your insight. You rode with me on some. You've gone against with me on some. I dig it, man. We'd love to have you on the show. But this has got a Big Ten battle feel to it. I'm sticking with the home team here. College football makes such a big difference here. So,
and for anybody from St. Dominic's Rosary says UCLA has one of the best defenses in the Pac-12. Not sold on DJ Uiagalelei. UCLA is going to make it tough on him. There's talk about benching DJ. Wow.
I don't know why there's talk about benching a guy who went 19 for 25 for 275 and 5 touchdowns last week. I love my guy and chiming in here, but there ain't no talk.
Yeah, and I get Chip Kelly is familiar with playing at Oregon State. He was at Oregon. That doesn't mean the UCLA players are. So that's really what matters to me in that one. So moving on to the most anticipated matchup of the week.
This should be a
frozen tundra in Madison. we got the Iowa can't score 25 Hawkeyes against the Wisconsin Badgers.
The
Badgers. So 9.5-point favorite for good reason. I think Wisconsin had a very solid, it was impressive because Rutgers is actually a competent team. If you watch Rutgers this year, they're beating everybody you figured a competent team should beat. And then they lost at Michigan 31-6, which is respectable. Hello, Minnesota. And 24-13, Wisconsin beat Rutgers last week in Madison. It was
they're doing what Illinois should be.
Yes,
exactly.
Greg Schiano has got those guys turned around. He's a very good coach of fundamentals and has his team playing the right way, and they're going to go to a bowl game. So
yeah, absolutely,
can't complain about that. So Wisconsin, though, a formidable team, looking like to me the best team in the Big Ten West, just because they can stop people and they really don't beat them. They haven't been beating themselves of late, and you've got a quarterback who can make plays, and you got Braylon Allen. So, Kev, are you leading off on this one?
Yeah, actually, I think it's Matt on this one.
Okay, so Matt in Madison, Iowa beat them up last year to end the year. I know they're, this is a big rivalry matchup. So 9.5 points here. What do you got?
Couple of things here. Rivalry games with a spread this much, I'm going to take the underdog in the points. 2, it's an 80% chance of rain on Saturday
and windy.
15 to 25 mile per hour winds. I like the Iowa Hawkeyes to control the ball the entire game here. And so much so that the over-under total has dropped down to 34.5. And with a game like that, with a spread of 9.5, I just don't see it. Wisconsin's D, they've been great on offense. Don't get me wrong. Luke Fickell, he brought in that air raid, and it's kind of his version of the air raid, but they're still balanced. But they lost Ches Maluzzi last week for the season. Very capable running back, very good. I don't know what they're going to do. They can't pass the whole game, especially in those conditions. They're going to have to find, running back 2 here. Can he carry the load like Ches? I don't think so. So, give me the Hawkeyes plus 9.5.
All right, Kev.
Matt is 100% correct. We got the battle. This is the Floyd of Rosedale, right? That's what this game is.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, the battle for the pig. Yeah, rain early, 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. Like this, the whole thing that Matt said here, and I get the better defense. We looked at it last week. Is that Iowa, how they controlled the game against Purdue? They're going to try to do the same thing against Wisconsin. I'm not buying Wisconsin's defense. But
Iowa's offense, though. Ugh.
No, I don't care, but 10 points is too much. It's just that line is way too big. And frankly, with the weather conditions, I might have a little fun with this and make a small play on Iowa on the money line here. I got a first-year coach. I'm sorry. Iowa is going to do everything to punch them in the mouth. They are the more physical football team here. 10 points is way too many.
Way too many.
I don't think that either team gets in the 20s here, so I don't see how this was a 10-point spread. I think this is like a 14-13 game. This is going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker sicko special here, where the punt game, and then I got the better special teams. Iowa has the best special teams in the country, possibly. Like I think I might sprinkle a little bit on the money line here. Give me the Hawkeyes plus the 9.5.
Man,
amen.
All right. I guess you guys are believers in the Hawks, huh? They're going to run away.
No. Believers in Big Ten football wins and Big Ten conditions.
Hey, I'm only saying this because if you look at the Hawkeyes' schedule, it sets up for them to be like 11-1 if they win this game. So it's
exactly,
crazy, man.
They're gonna be motivated because this is to win the West for them. They could still have a chance.
11-1 and playing Michigan and all right, or Penn State, who beat them 30-0. All right, so, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the episode. And no, not the end, because we're going to be leaving. It's the locks, And so, Matt, you've been rolling on your locks, right?
Yeah, but except for last week, I got back to 500, and then last week was not good.
What was recap me real quick? What was your lock last week?
Over.
That's
Ohio State, over. Maryland.
Yeah, and I lost by 1.5.
Okay.
So
yeah, I can understand the frustration on that one because I would say this too. We'll let you, Matt. You know what? Just because I said that. And you know what? I like your lock because you told me. I'm gonna let you tell everybody your lock this week, and we'll let you end it, Kev. So I think this one's just kind of out there some. If you're sticking with what you told me earlier, Matt, go ahead. Let's go.
I am gonna go back to the well with a team playing Michigan again and take the Indiana Hoosiers 33.5. At Michigan. And no, I do not believe in Tom Allen, as Kev asked me. I do not believe in the Hoosiers at all.
I believe.
Okay. Oh, was it you? As Ryan told me. I believe in game management by Jim Harbaugh. He's going to beat them, and he's going to beat them pretty handily. I'm thinking probably 28 to 31 points, but 33.5 conference game, just way too many. Give me the Hoosiers. I'll take those points all day long.
All right. Well, they just skunked Minnesota by 42.
I know.
In Minneapolis. Okay. Just wanted to catch you and try to save you before you locked it in. But
I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
They've won their last two Big Ten games by an average of 40 points. Against Nebraska and Minnesota, teams I think are better. I know we're not supposed to argue locks, brother. I don't see this one, man. I see this being 45-0 Michigan.
Hey, Kev, we know it was the margaritas and that beautiful pool, and the sun was talking to him, and that's all it was. It's all right though. It happens.
Too many marks for sure.
All right.
I think Tom Allen got me on the hotline bling. That's what it was.
Right. All right, Kevin, we need people to take the show serious. Come on, help us here. What do you got? What's your lock this week, Kev?
All right, I'm going to go to a Sunday game, right? And I'm going to go with the NFL over 44.5. And I think I'm 6-1 or 5-2 in my locks here. So like I'm going to go with the Bears Vikings over 44.5. Both defenses are trash.
Like
Kirk Cousins is still a very competent quarterback. He's going to be able to put up some points there. The Bears offense is actually showing signs of life like they did at the end of last season. They've got talent on that side of the ball. They know where they need to get the ball out to. They've got 10 days to prepare. They can't fix their defense. Washington just laid an egg early. I'm sorry, that is not the real Bears defense. The Bears defense is garbage. I think this one covers easy over 44.5. I love a lot of totals in the NFL this week, but that's what I'm really leaning on. If you want to have some fun, 47.5 tomorrow night is not enough points. I think Kansas City could get that number by themselves, and that Denver Broncos, I don't know what you want to call it, defense. Miami hung 70 on them. I think there's a competitive nature that Kansas City wants to go hammer them. And matter of fact, to a point, like if you play DFS, this is a gambling podcast. We talk about that. Isaiah Pacheco, I think, is a great play tomorrow for the Kansas City Chiefs against Denver. I like the under in Atlanta and Washington, even though Washington's defense has seemed like it's a sieve here. Atlanta's not going to score a lot of points, but their defense is really good. I like the under in the Raiders and Patriots game. There's just a lot of totals that are out there. I like the over in the Chargers-Dallas game. By the way, Dak Prescott's numbers against bottom defenses are incredible. He loves to feast on the weak sisters of the poor. LA, sorry, I said San Diego. The Chargers are 32nd in the NFL in pass defense. Dak's going to have a big day. There's another guy you can plug in a DFS lineup if you like. I really like the NFL schedule this week more than I do, but I'm going to go back to it. Bears defense sucks. Bears offense good. Minnesota's defense sucks. Offense good. 44.5 points. Give me the over.
I like it.
Well, to end this one, what's the line of Illinois at Maryland? Is it 14.5, 15?
It was 14.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, the Illini can stay under that 2 touchdowns.
No way. I think you take Maryland and the points. I think you look at Maryland team total if you can get it. I don't know what it's at, but I think Maryland puts up, 4 or 5 touchdowns easy, maybe mixes in a field goal or something. Maybe if Kev can look it up, but I think Maryland will just at College Park. I don't see the Illini D stopping them. No way.
What about Lunny? We gonna get a couple touchdowns, maybe, Matt?
Yeah, maybe some points, maybe 17 at most.
Hey, we're moving on up.
Yeah, but give me a touchdown, 1.5. I think that's what's probably to be expected.
You're gonna have to see a really desperate Illinois team. Like they're really gonna have to come out and really fix a lot of the things that are going on out there.
Gotta see some guys care a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see something there. I'm trying to look up some team totals here, but Maryland's a 14-point favorite. That's probably, in the over-unders at 51. So that's probably looking at.
So they're saying it's going to be what, 35 to 20?
21. No, it's like 30. Yeah, they're like saying like 33-17, somewhere in there. So Maryland's total is probably 33.5. I kind of like what Matt's saying there. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it at the moment. I'm not a big team totals guy.
Giving Illinois too much credit, I think they're going to put that many points up when they couldn't even figure out how to.
Well, let's say in Illinois, it's like 17. Yeah, you're right. Illinois is just going to have to come out and look like it's a completely different team than they have the first 6 weeks of the season to get within that number, and I don't see it happening. I saw a very competent Maryland team that went toe-to-toe with a pretty damn good Ohio State team for a better part of 50 minutes, right? I don't see it, and I hope I'm so wrong.
I know. Wouldn't it be fun to celebrate like just a surprising, shocking victory? Like it's just this whole year, even the wins, it was like you beat Toledo, who's a good team. He's going to win 10 games, right? And we're like, oh, still, I'm not really that impressive, but it's a win to, getting dominated at Kansas and then a pathetic third and fourth quarter against Penn State to not even putting many points on the board against FAU and you put up 500. It's just been so unsatisfying in the victories even. It's just we haven't really been able to be like, man, we looked good, you know?
Yeah, they got to simplify a whole bunch of things on offense and hope the turnover fairy bounces their way to be able to do this. But they're playing in College Park. I don't remember the last time we went there, but it was the last time we went there where we just got absolutely demolished. They hung like
it was like 60-some.
Both times that we went and played in College Park was ugly, and they were both with Lovey.
There was an AJ Bush year where we could score, but we couldn't stop it. It was like 67-36 or something.
Yes. Yeah. But I remember, too, is that Lovey kept settling for field goals when they kept scoring touchdowns. And it's like we were scoring touchdowns, too, but like it was like touchdown to field goal, touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, touchdown, field goal. And I'm just like, okay, this doesn't add up, Lovey, but whatever.
Here's a fun stat. Like we can move on from this one. Like I mean, you guys want to tune in on Sunday nights, listen to Ryan and I talk about Illinois fine, but this is the gambling podcast. I don't think Illinois covers. Here's a fun little tidbit NFL wise. I've never heard a stat like this before. Matt's Philadelphia Eagles playing the Jets this weekend, the Battle of Green. The Eagles lifetime against the New York Jets in NFL history, 12-0. They have never lost to the – it's just like a mind-boggling stat. The Eagles are 12-0 in their history against the New York Jets.
That's crazy. Didn't know that.
That is wild.
Me too.
All right, really quick before we end, any quick late-night games? Because my computer's about to die. Anything quick from one of you two? No late-night fun Saturday night college football games?
Give me Thursday night. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the over.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's Fade the Deuce. We'll see you Sunday night. Keep it orange and blue. Swami out.
ILL.
I.